Hey everyone. So we are continuing our theme of self-care, and today we are talking about exercise. Now, before you move forward and think you don't want to listen to this video, I highly encourage you to listen because a lot of times we don't want to hear something because we think we've already heard it, and we're just going to feel shame and judgment because you're like, I know, Lauren, I know I should be working out more, but listen because we may say something different than you think. Okay, so the benefits of exercise are so endless. You know, it's good for muscles, bones, weight loss, metabolism. It increases our energy, increases our brain function, like hello, mommy brain. Increases our sex drive. I mean, just our overall love of our body. There's a lot of things. So if it's so good for us, why don't we do it? Right. Now, the number one thing that we hear from patients at the clinic is that they don't have time. And I totally hear this. There are weeks where there's literally just not time. This is one of those crazy weeks. But I would say that if you're somebody who hasn't made time in months to get your body moving, then you're probably thinking about this a little wrong. So I want to break down I don't want to call it an excuse, but the logic, there we go, there's a better word, of I don't have time. Well, I can tell you first and foremost that there are people who work more hours than you do, have more children, and are finding time. So what it is it's not necessarily that you have less time. It's more than likely one of two other reasons. So one being that exercise, or the idea of it, intimidates you. Totally normal. We're going to talk about that. Or that it's not high enough on your priority list. And so other things fill your time. So let's start with the intimidation factor. This is normal. This happens to me, and I am a very active person. I'm a runner. And if I haven't run, there've been a couple times in the last few years where I've gone like 2 months without doing a single run. And it was around week 5 or 6 that I was like, I should really start running. But then I delayed it for multiple weeks because I was terrified of how bad that first run was going to be. So instead of thinking about exercise, meaning like you need to join a gym and you're going to like go to kickboxing and you're just going to be shamed because you're so out of weight, let's reframe the idea of exercise and do something that you love. So start with exercise with things you love, and maybe there's nobody else involved. So, if you're really worried about being shamed or judged because you're not as good, do it by yourself. If you've got kids, things like hopscotch or going for a bike ride, going for a walk with them, things that you enjoy. And you're like, well, that's not exercise. Yes, it is. That is, when everyone's saying the benefits of exercise, it is literally moving your body. The other thing with that is you want to shift the purpose of why we're exercising. So a lot of us who are listening are women, and the reason we're exercising is because we want to be thinner or we want to look better. And that's okay. But that's a big reason why we look at things like playing hopscotch or soccer with our 6-year-old in the backyard as not exercise, because we know that's not going to get me a beach body and a 6-pack. And so in the beginning, I would really encourage you to find something you love, and instead just you don't have to be okay. I'm not saying you should never want to lose weight, but I'm saying maybe take that purpose of exercise and just shelve it until you get a little bit more flow. And get exercise in your life regularly, and replace the reason behind exercising with wanting to get fit with I want to connect with my body. I want to move my muscles because I know it is good for me. I want to connect in nature. Things like that. And then as you find, that will remove that intimidation factor, then later you can start working with different forms of exercise that are more geared towards toning and leaning. So that's the intimidation factor. Find something you love doing, and don't worry about how many calories it burned. Don't worry about if it got you closer to your ideal size or burned or, shed another pound. Have fun, move your body, do cartwheels with your kids. Don't injure yourself. Cartwheels and somersaults. I don't know if you've done one recently, but I was trying to play with my kids the other day, and my daughter's like, do a somersault. And I'm like, yeah, I used to do somersaults. They're terrifying if you have not done them in 20 years. Anyways, okay, so reason number 2 as to why you're not likely exercising is it's not that you don't have time, it's that you're filling your time with things that are a higher priority. So to find out what your priorities are, I encourage you, whenever you're listening to this, to look to your last 2 full days and write down every single thing you did. The time you woke up, what you did right away. So on my worst days, I'll spend a good half hour in the morning just drinking coffee and zoning out on social media. Like, talk about being honest and like ick, right? But so write down what you're doing. Now, what you're likely going to find from the moment you wake up until the moment you go to sleep is it's things that take up your 24-hour cycle are sleep, mandatory like work meetings or just like times you have to be to work, things like transitioning to work, you're driving there, or grocery shopping, prepping dinner, picking up the kids. But you'll also likely find things like reading or watching TV, folding laundry. So look at your last 2 days and there is your priority list. It's things like most people who are not prioritizing time for self-care to exercise. There are other things that are higher priority, and family, kids, friends, and work tend to do it. So now this is where you think I'm going to say like, all right, move something unimportant like social media or TV aside and bump exercise up. Again, ideally, but you've heard that message before and it likely hasn't worked. Otherwise, you'd be exercising. So instead, what I encourage you to do is find ways that now that you have your list of priorities, I'm not saying you love these priorities, but these are the things that find time into your day. Find ways to squeeze mini bursts of exercise into what you already know you're going to make time for. So if you know that you are going to go on social media, like you are going to find time to drink coffee and go on social media, set a timer and say like, all right, every 10 minutes, I'm going to force myself to do 5 minutes of something fun, jumping jacks or push-ups. Okay, push-ups aren't fun, but like just break it into something you're already going to do. Nobody really watches commercials anymore, but like do sit-ups while you're watching TV. Or if you normally fold laundry at one point in the day, watch TV, can you fold laundry while watching TV and you just opened up 20 minutes to do something again you love? Like, don't be like, oh great, now I have 20 minutes for me to get on the treadmill. Like, no, replace it in the beginning with something you love. Okay, so just because you've fallen off the exercise bandwagon, don't allow the guilt and shame and beating yourself up of like, what's the point? I'm just going to fall off the bandwagon again. Like, that's silly. We're going to fall off the bandwagon for the rest of our lives. There's going to be good weeks, good months, good periods, and then there's going to be bad periods and terrible periods. And the only difference between people who are doing good self-care is that they realize when they're in a bad period and don't allow themselves to stay there. So if you are, one thing I should have mentioned as a chiropractor, oopsie, bonus if you're still listening, if the reason you're not exercising is because things physically hurt, hi, I'm Dr. Lauryn and I'm a chiropractor at Blue Hills Chiropractic. Reach out to us. I cannot tell you how many people we have been able to help, whether they're recovering from having a baby or a surgery, get up and moving again. All right, have a great day.